Hey, John here. Here's the quick walkthrough of that B minor alternate picking lick. This one is based on the B Aeolian scale, also known as the natural minor scale. So you have 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. And we're gonna start here on the root on the 19th fret of the high E string. If you want tabs for this one, you can find it on my Patreon or in my YouTube membership thing. So let's start here on the 19th fret. I'm gonna use this old Yngwie sequence. And we're going to apply that on 4 different positions in the scale. Basically just moving down here. So 19, 17, 15, move down. So you have 17, 15, 14, 15, 14, 12. And then finally you have 14, 12, 10. And the pattern that I played here is a 6-note pattern. And if you number the notes from left to right, 1, 2, 3, you would have 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So sounds like this from the beginning. Once we get to this point, we're gonna move up to this position again, but now go down in this scale shape. Then we're gonna repeat that 1 octave lower till we lead back to the root note here on the 7th fret. So again, the frets here would be 15, 14, 12 on the high E string and the B string. Then we have 14, 12, 11 on the G and B. Sorry, G and D string. So, and then we repeat that in the lower octave, as I explained earlier. And this is a really effective way of building your licks anyway, because this repetition is still enough variety so your brain won't catch it right away. But somewhere in there, in the listener's brain, it's going to be some sort of pattern recognition going on. And that's a really powerful thing when it comes to whether people like what they're hearing or not. Because most people, if they hear something and they can't make sense of it, it will just sound like, you know, nonsense, basically. But a good way to avoid that in your faster licks is to use this sort of octave repeating trick. So the way that I would practice this is that I would make sure that I can do the single string thing first. So if you find that you have trouble synchronizing your hands here, you should definitely check out some of my other videos where I address exactly that. Mainly with a lot of slow practice, but also with some speed bursts and rhythmic variations. So I'm gonna link to that at the end of this video, so you can check that out. But just going through the entire scale on a single string is a really good way to learn the neck and also work on a technique at the same time. So I'm gonna let you figure that out. It's very easy to find scale shapes and all those things online, so I'm not gonna go through that here. But if you really want to improve, you want to learn the actual scales as well. So that will make everything easier, because when you learn something new, then you will just be like, oh, cool, it's this scale, I know that already, and we're gonna apply this pattern, and then it's just way less to keep in, you know, try to keep in your mind when you learn this stuff. Because if you don't know that, the only other thing you can resort to when it comes to memorizing it would be to try to remember the frets you're playing. And that's a very bad way of doing it. I call this bingo guitar playing, because basically you're sitting there, E19, E15, E17. It's a ridiculous way of doing things. And it's very easy to learn the scales. Anyone can do it. You don't have to learn the scales, you know, in one day. No one does that. Just sit down, take one of the 7 3-note per string shapes, for example. I even have a thing here on my channel where I go through the 7 positions of the major scale in 3-note per string and how to practice it and to really nail it and understand it. So I'm gonna link to that as well, so you can check that out. But my main tip here is to really take your time to learn the scales, because it will make your life so much easier in the long run. So good luck with this stuff. If you have any questions, just post them below. Otherwise, see you in the next video.